I've got a story for you, and I swear it's true, or at least it felt true enough to make me rethink ever going camping again. This happened a couple of years ago when I went camping with my cousins. We're a pretty close bunch, and it was one of those weekends when someone suggested, "Hey, why not go camping?" It sounded like a great idea at the time, so we grabbed some gear, packed up way too much junk food, and headed out to this spot near a lake that my cousin Alex swore was perfect. The drive out there was fun, lots of music, dumb jokes, and arguing over who forgot what. When we got to the campsite, it was just as Alex said. The lake was beautiful, surrounded by tall trees, and the air smelled fresh and earthy. There wasn't anyone else around, which was exactly what we wanted. We set up camp close to the water, laid out our sleeping bags in one big tent, because no one wanted to admit they were scared of sleeping alone, and started a fire. The first night was chill. We roasted marshmallows, made hot dogs, and talked about everything from school to ghost stories. I don't know who brought up ghost stories, but you know how it goes. One creepy tale leads to another, and before you know it, everyone's a little on edge. Alex told this story about a lake spirit that drags people under if they swim after dark. He was grinning the whole time, probably trying to freak us out, but I brushed it off. Anyway, after a while, we all got tired and crawled into the tent. It was cozy, crammed with all of us inside, but nobody complained. The sound of the lake and the breeze through the trees was kind of soothing, you know. I thought I'd fall asleep right away, but sometime in the middle of the night, I woke up. At first, I wasn't sure why I was awake. It was quiet except for the usual nighttime sounds, crickets, the occasional sounds in the bushes. Then I heard it, splashing. Not the gentle kind, like a fish jumping or water lapping at the shore, but loud, erratic splashing, like someone was thrashing around. I sat up, listening. "Did you hear that?" I whispered, but no one responded. I nudged Alex, who was closest to me. He just groaned and muttered something I couldn't make out. By then, the splashing had stopped, but my curiosity, or maybe something else, got the better of me. I grabbed a flashlight and unzipped the tent as quietly as I could. When I stepped out, the cool air hit me, and the lake came into view. But here's the weird part. The water was perfectly still. I mean, still. No ripples, no sign of movement, nothing. I stood there for a minute, shining my flashlight over the water, half expecting to see a deer or something that had fallen in. But there was absolutely nothing. My heart was pounding for no reason I could explain. Eventually, I went back to the tent, telling myself it was probably just my imagination or a fish. The next morning, I told everyone about it, but no one seemed that concerned. Alex laughed it off, saying, "You probably dreamed it." I let it go because, honestly, maybe he was right. We spent the rest of the day swimming, hiking, and messing around. The lake was so peaceful during the day that it was hard to believe it had felt so creepy the night before. By evening, we were back at the campfire, grilling hot dogs and making jokes about the lake spirit. That night, though, things got weirder. It must have been around midnight when I woke up again, this time to the sound of footsteps. They weren't heavy, more like soft, deliberate steps, like someone trying not to be heard. At first, I thought maybe it was one of my cousins going to pee, but then I noticed something strange. The sound was circling the tent, slow and steady. "Alex," I whispered, shaking his shoulder. "Wake up." He grunted and rolled over. "What? Do you hear that?" He sat up, rubbing his face. The footsteps were still going, a soft squish, squish sound, like whoever was out there was wet. Alex froze, and I could tell he heard it too. "Who's out there?" he called, his voice shaky. No answer. He grabbed the flashlight and unzipped the tent. I didn't want to go out there, but I wasn't about to let him go alone. We stepped outside, and the night felt darker than before. The fire had burned down to embers, and the moonlight barely lit up the area. We looked around, but there was no one, just the same stillness as the night before. Even the lake looked unnaturally calm. "Maybe it's an animal," Alex said, though he didn't sound convinced. We went back inside, but neither of us could sleep after that. The footsteps didn't come back, but the silence was almost worse. The next morning, we all agreed to pack up and leave. We didn't talk much while tearing down the tent or loading the car. It was like no one wanted to admit how freaked out we were. On the drive back, I kept thinking about the lake, how it seemed so normal during the day, but turned into something else at night. I don't know what we heard or what I saw, but I've never been able to forget it. When I finally got home, I felt this weird mix of relief and unease. You know that feeling when you're glad to be safe but can't shake off the creepiness? That's where I was. I didn't even unpack right away. I just tossed my bag in the corner and crashed onto my bed, hoping I could sleep it all off. But that first night back, the nightmares started. I was back at the lake. It was dark. In the dream, I was standing at the edge of the water, staring at my reflection. Except it wasn't my reflection, it looked like me, but its eyes were wrong, like they were hollow or too deep. Then, without warning, something grabbed my leg from under the water. I tried to pull away, but it wouldn't let go. It was cold, slimy, and strong, stronger than anything I could fight off. The next thing I knew, I was being dragged under, water filling my lungs, my chest burning. I couldn't scream, couldn't move, just sinking deeper and deeper until everything went black. That's when I'd wake up, gasping for air, my heart pounding like it was going to burst. The dream came back every single night that week, almost like it was taunting me. Sometimes it was worse. Sometimes I'd dream that I was swimming in the lake during the day, feeling the sun on my face, thinking everything was fine. Then, just when I'd start to relax, the water would turn ice cold, and I'd feel that same hand wrap around my ankle and yank me under. The scariest part wasn't just the drowning. It was the way I could feel something down there, waiting for me. Every morning I woke up feeling more drained, like the nightmares were sucking the energy right out of me. I started dreading going to bed, but staying awake didn't help either. No matter how much I tried to convince myself it was just my imagination, the dreams wouldn't stop. By the end of the week, I was desperate. I stopped talking about it because every time I even thought about the lake, I'd get this cold shiver that ran straight through me. It was like the memory of that place was clinging to me, not letting go. And then, just as suddenly as they started, the nightmares stopped. One night, I went to bed bracing myself for another round, but I slept straight through till morning. No lake, no drowning, nothing. I'd like to say I felt better after that, but the truth is, the silence was almost as unsettling as the dreams. It was like whatever had haunted me had just decided to back off, but not because it was gone. It felt more like it was done with me. Thank you for listening to this video. I'll see you in the next one.